Good evening, everyone. This is Rebecca with Red True Crime with some case updates. So, let's see, where to begin? Let's see, Kamani Latigue, her father, put in air quotes because I don't think it's ever been fully confirmed whether or not that is actually her dad or not. Make sure I can be heard here. Alright. So, if anybody pops on here, can you let me know if you can hear me? Because I'm not sure if my microphone is up. Alright. So Kamani Latik, her father has made an appearance in court. Um, Looks like they're waiting on some mental health evaluations, so I'm not sure where that's going to go. I do know that the state prosecutor has made it clear that her case does qualify for the death penalty. So whether or not they actually do that, I don't know. He was back and forth. He said one of the issues they were running into is their method of execution. It is lethal injection, and there has been some issues with it. There's been some people who've been basically like anti the death penalty. So, or anti that particular method because it's in other states, the chemical combination, it's been kind of horrific watching these people die that way. And it's not painless. So, I don't know. Hi, if you guys are just now joining me, can you let me know whether or not you can hear me? Mm, okay. Well, hopefully you can hear me. If not, let me know. Thank you, Marie. Okay. So, because of the heinousness of Kamani Latigue's death, that is why they are pushing for the death penalty for Darnell Jones slash Ogletree. I can't remember what his other last name is. So that is what they're looking at for him. Very sad. The house that where her body was found caught fire over the weekend, so it has been burnt to the ground. So there is nothing there. Which, from what I understand, they were going to tear that house down anyway. It's just somebody did it for free. But I digress. It's going to be probably a long process before we hear the final ends of the Kamani Latique case, because I know the grandmother is, in my opinion, suspect. I still want to know who he was talking to on that walkie-talkie when they found him in Columbus, because when they shot him, they said, "Oh, it's a gun." No, it's a walkie-talkie. He still had a gun, but he had a walkie-talkie in his hand. Why? Because obviously if you've got one, there has to be a second one in order for it to work. So I'd like to know who he was talking to. And they've never released that. But the whole family, in my opinion, is suspect because the mom was like, I was trying to get her back. She wanted to be with me, but you didn't have her in the first place. Then there's like a godmother somewhere that had her for a while. I don't know. I mean, it's all been weird. So, like I said, he's out of the hospital. He has, for the most part, recovered from his gunshot wound, but they are doing more mental evaluations to see, I guess, how far they can take this case with him. But the state attorney general or the state prosecutor, he said that sometimes the family doesn't want a trial. Sometimes, if a plea bargain, like let's say he'll spend life in prison, they're okay with that. If the guy will cop to that and take death penalty off the table. Sometimes they want an eye for an eye. He said a lot will, be up in the air right now. So there's that. Let's see. Here's another one that came across. Let me get the name here. And this has been an interesting case. I've seen a lot of people comment on this. It's Carkita Taylor. So her family posted saying that she's been missing for 5 years. And then all of a sudden she pops up in a Facebook ad, with a white couple saying, "Hey, she's great." Actually, I'll read it right here. Carquita Taylor has been a big help at our house for the past 3 months. She washes windows, floors, dishes, she shampoos rugs, mows lawns, and clears brush. She's a willing worker. Contact us if you are in the Medina area and need help. Now her family is like, wait up. She had a career, she did all these things, she left her kids, she just disappeared. Some are thinking this is like a cult situation or like some type of slavery situation, but there's, PI Prophet, he covered it too, and he was like, he showed some text messages between her and a cousin, and she flat out tells the cousin, like, look, I'm not missing. I didn't know you even had taken a missing persons report out on me. I'm fine. So I don't know. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out because I know the family's not going to back down because they want her home. So we'll see how that goes. But it's very interesting. It's very odd because she went from selling real estate to cleaning houses. So I don't know if she's got some type of mental, like she had like a nervous breakdown and she's trying to find peace, or I know some people alluded to a drug issue going on there. I don't know. I really don't know. But only time will tell on that one. Let's see what else. Let's see. There's Kamani Latig, this one. Oh, my favorite case. Jason Edward Kohler. Okay, so those of you who may not be familiar with the name Jason Edward Kohler, let me remind you. About 3 months ago, 2 months ago, there is an organization called Bikers Against Predators, and they showed up at Jason Edward Kohler's house in High Point, North Carolina. He is a convicted pedophile from Minneapolis, or from Minnesota, that has relocated to here. They have dummy accounts on Facebook and other social medias. Our adults are playing, pretending to be children, and this is how they root out predators. And he responded to one. He thought he was chatting with an 11-year-old girl, and he was trying to meet up with her. Well, they came to his house and they confronted him. And it wasn't like, hey, we're threatening you, tell us what you want to know. I mean, he openly said, yes, I remember talking to her. No, I didn't try to meet her. And then the guy pulled out the chats, like you wanted her to send pictures of these body parts, and you offered to send pictures to her of your body parts. And she was, he didn't shy away from it. And he admitted on camera that, yes, he had child pictures doing adult things on his phone. And while they were talking to him, one of his people called the cops to get them over there to arrest him, for this reason. So cops didn't arrest him. They didn't even take the phone, or at least it didn't appear they took the phone. And people got upset. It was all over the place. They were very upset. They were very angry about the whole thing. Like, you didn't do anything. Like, High Point caught a lot of hell for it. So fast forward, about 2 weeks later, he gets arrested because they finally did a dump on his phone, and he ended up being charged with like 15 different counts of third-degree sexual exploitation of a minor. And he was put under $1 million bond, a little bit over $1 million between these 15 cases. Well, his wonderful, wonderful, wonderful public defender, note my sarcasm there, petitioned the court to get him a bail reduction. Yes, yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. And this is where I get agitated because, dude shouldn't have bail. I mean, that's my feeling. Like, if you are somebody who has already been convicted of pedophilia and you're being, accused of it again, and there's evidence, hardcore evidence that you've done this, why are you giving him a chance to get out and find more victims? That's all I want to know. Why? Why? So I'm gonna find his attorney's name real quick so we can shame this guy. Now, let me backtrack a little bit because here's the thing: we live in a country where we have rights. Innocent till proven guilty. Everybody has a right to a defense. All this other stuff. Okay, I can go with that. But and however, not pedophiles. I'm sorry. Pedophiles, rapists, really just those two. Oh, people who abuse animals. They have no reason to be free. I'm gonna pull him up because they petitioned the court, and yesterday, oh hey Deborah, I'm talking about a few different things. I talked about, let's see, Kamali Latif, talked about her case. I talked about this woman that's been missing for 5 years and apparently may not actually be missing. Carquita Taylor talked about that. And now we're talking about the pedophile, Jason Edward Kohler, out of High Point, that was featured on Bikers Against Predators on Facebook. So to catch you up, what we are talking about is he was found, or he's being accused of 15 count, or being charged with 15 counts of exploitation, third degree exploitation of a minor. And because of that, they had him on $1 million bond. And between all these cases, they've broken it up into three cases, but it's like multiple counts. It's like 15 counts between these three cases. Yeah, there we go. Third degree sexual exploitation of a minor. So they had him on $1 million bond, and then his wonderful public defender, Rip Stafford Pfizer, petitioned the court to get his bail reduced. And they did. They got it reduced. Yep, 15. So they went from $1.1 million bond down to a combined of, let's see, it's like 250, 100,000 and 250, 250. So he has to come up with 60 grand and he gets to come out. Yeah. So they reduced it down to one of them was $100,000. The other two cases, the bonds are reduced down to 250,000 each. So that's a combined total of 600,000. And based on bond rules, he has to come up with 10%, which means $60,000. As it stands now, it looks like his broke ass is still in jail. May he stay there until the end of time, because he's not due back in court for any hearing until June 6th. So it would be nice if he never got out, but we shall see. We shall see. I'm sorry, I'm eating. I haven't really been able to eat much today. Um, Little personal crap. I have been dealing with some health stuff for months, and my right foot has got some type of red swelling on the side, and they've been trying to figure it out. I've been in a boot, and it's been awful. And then they put me on steroids to fix that, and that's destroying my stomach. So I had to go leave work early today, go to a doctor, get some coating medicine for my stomach. So now I'm able to eat and not feel like I'm about to, hurl. Because for those of you who don't know, I used to be severely overweight, and about 6 years ago, I had weight loss surgery, lost 150 pounds. So my stomach is very sensitive to medication. So I can't take any like NSAIDs like ibuprofen, Tylenol, Aleve, none of that. No steroids, nothing that can really pass through the stomach like that because it causes ulcers and bleeding. And make a long story short, I have a very sensitive stomach and I'm falling apart. So don't get old. That's the lesson in this. Don't get old. Um, okay, so Jason Edward Kohler. And just to remind you, he had a victim, he had multiple victims in Minnesota. I found out from his ex-wife that the victim that he went to jail for 10 years was his own daughter. And when he got out on probation, his probation officer, the judge, and the prosecutor all had concerns. They felt that he was a danger to society. And he was violated and sent back, not violated, but he violated parole and got sent back. So, like I said, if I remember the transcripts, and I posted in a previous video, if I remember in the transcripts that his probation officer, it was a woman. She had been working in the business for a long time. And she had told the judge that she had concerns, that he had admitted to a therapist that if he got out, he couldn't guarantee he wouldn't reoffend, and that if he saw a child or a vulnerable woman, he would probably pounce. But yet they still let him out. And that's my thing. If you have somebody with that type of pathology, why would you let them out? I don't understand that. And now he's in the great state of North Carolina and he's reoffending again. And now he's got his bond reduced from basically over $1 million down to 600,000, which means all he has to come up with is 60 grand. I don't see the justice in that. I don't. And again, I wonder, I know people who are public defenders, they're all like the downtrodden and stuff, but I don't know how this guy sleeps at night protecting this guy. I don't, defending this guy. I don't get it. But it's his job. He has to do it. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. So there's that. Let's see. What else can we talk about? Oh my goodness, Shannon frickin' Sharpe. This dude just needs to shut up. Okay? Just needs to shut up. I have heard so many different aspects of people's legal opinions on this case of his, with this lawsuit. So if you guys don't know who Shannon Sharpe is, he is a former Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame NFL player. Was on ESPN, CBS Sports, and he was on ESPN with Skip Bayless. He has his own little YouTube thing called Club Shay Shay, and what's the other thing he does? Nightcap, that's the other one. Does one thing with Ocho Cinco, who was a football player for the Bengals back in the day when I still lived there. So anyway, Shannon Sharpe is like 56, 57 years old. He has a thing for young women. He has a thing for young white women, which the race thing doesn't matter to me. But some people like to make a point of this. I don't, I don't know. I'm the wrong person to comment on race because my late husband was I always get the terms wrong because he's dead, but he is black or was black. I'm not sure how to put that, because just because he died doesn't mean he stopped being black. Yeah, but my point is he was African American. We were married for 22 years. We have 3 kids. So I'm the last person to really comment on race because I could care less. But but the reason I'm bringing it up is that I've heard a few different takes on the case itself, and everyone is just they've got an opinion. Dr. Umar Johnson, he keeps calling her Snow Bunny. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith came out in defense of him, all this other thing. So my thing is, and the one take I liked the best out of all of this was the lawyer, that's another YouTube legal thing I watch or listen. I shouldn't say watch. I listen to mostly. And they were discussing it, and they kept saying all the text messages going back and forth, because like she released some, he released some. It's like people keep releasing stuff and commenting, and everything that's been released, nothing is illegal. Nothing that's been said is illegal. It's maybe in poor taste, maybe I don't know. I don't know about poor taste. I mean, if you are into that kind of thing, okay, great, But if you're not, you may be like, um. Or I found out, and this is the thing. Dr. Umar Johnson brought this up. I did not know this. When he started dating her, Shannon Sharpe started dating this Gabriela Zuniga. He tried to get her to sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. She refused to do it. But yet he stayed for like 2 years. So yeah, he's stupid. I mean, if you really gotta walk on the wild side of things and you do some things that make people kind of look at you kind of weird, and the person you want to do that with will not sign the NDA, and you have somebody with a name and a reputation and money, walk the hell away, dude. Maybe date somebody your own age. I don't know. I mean, I think the age thing bothers me more than anything else because hmm, it's weird. age thing bothers me more than anything else because she was like 19 when she started messing with him, and he was like 54 at the time. That's that's a huge age difference. And she was saying all kinds of crap like, put a black baby in me, put this in me, put that in me. I mean, from what I understand, when she made the comment, once you get me pregnant, you'll never get rid of me, that's when his attitude kind of changed. Like, oh, great. Because Shannon Sharp's never been married. So I think she got with him thinking she was going to get a payday, get pregnant, have this instant payday for like 18 years, and call it a day. But it didn't work out that way. And then, there's the crazy live Instagram where he was having consensual sex with someone else, and it wasn't her apparently because she heard that, and that's when all this other stuff blew up. And the other thing that bothers me is she's saying he assaulted her sexually twice. Once in like October of 2024 and the other time in January of 2025. Why didn't you call the police? I mean, I'm not trying to victim blame here, and don't get me wrong, but people who are assaulted like that don't say anything generally. If they don't go to the police, they don't go and sue. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Like, we have these lawsuits now against P. Diddy because these people were terrified to go to the police and the statute of limitations has run out. So all they can do now is sue. This is not the same situation with this girl. She could very easily call and say, yes, I was assaulted. I want to file a claim. I want to file a report. Because here's my thing. You have him found guilty in a court of law for what he did. That makes a civil case that much easier. Or one example was brought up about O.J. Simpson. He was found innocent in the murder trial of his ex-wife and Ron Goldman, but found complicit or liable in the civil suit that the Nicole Brown's family and Ron Goldman's family took out against him. And he lost a lot of money. So, that's why I don't understand. File the criminal crap and the civil, do both, but do one then the other. It's just weird. So I don't want to call her. I don't want to. God, how can I put this? I don't want to victim blame. I don't want to victim blame. But it does question her motives and what actually happened if it's by how she's handling it. And this lawyer, Tony Busby, who's also representing a good chunk of the people who are suing Puff Daddy for previous sexual claims, I don't know what's going on with this guy. I would have thought he would have had enough sense, like, go ahead and file a police report since this just happened here the last couple months. And then we can do the civil thing. But no, they're just going straight to civil. So he offered her an NDA. She wouldn't sign it. He continued to date her, so that's on him. And then when all this blew up, he offered her 10 million. She said no and then filed a lawsuit for 50. What is she trying to do here? I don't think she's going to get anything. Because my thing is, he works for ESPN, or no, he's stepped away from ESPN right now. ESPN is owned by Disney. Now that these text messages, snippets of like homemade videos are coming out, Disney is going to be like, you know what I mean? And he was about to get $100 million, renegotiate his contract for $100 million. This dumb girl couldn't wait like a week. You know what I mean? It's like, go after him after he signs the contract. He has more money at that point. So now, with this all happening, he's probably going to lose his reputation. He's going to lose his job with ESPN. He'll have his YouTube channel and all that, but I don't know how much more profitable it'll be once he leaves ESPN, because you're going to have sponsors who are probably going to back away from you because of this whole mess. She's dumb. She's very dumb. So, yeah, Shannon Sharp. Crazy. And then Puff Daddy, P. Diddy. His trial starts next month. or actually pretty much next week. I think from what I understand, they're doing their jury selection next week, voir dire. And believe it or not, they are trying to get some of this stuff mitigated down, saying that you can't blame him for all the sex trafficking and all the RICO crap because he was doing drugs and he couldn't control himself. Yeah, he's doing drugs and he can't control himself. Therefore, he can't be complicit for these crimes. Fun times. Yeah. I think they're grasping at straws here because the Cassie Ventura has been subpoenaed to testify on behalf of the prosecution. The crazy video that got released by CNN last year is going to be presented again at this trial in full, and he's screwed. He really is screwed. And there's about two, I think there's three or four other people that are going to come up and testify. That's going to testify to the freak offs, testify to the abuse, him keeping people applied with drugs so they couldn't leave, these kind of things. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this. It really is. And I don't know. I'm a big firm believer because some lawyers are thinking he's going to get off. I think the feds have got him. This is federal, and you usually don't screw around with feds, because the feds don't bring a case against you unless they have hardcore evidence. Because people were like, why did it take them forever to arrest him? They had raided his homes and it was like months later before they actually arrested him. You know why? They were making sure they had a slam dunk case before they arrested his dumbass. That's why. Just like R. Kelly. State of Florida went after him. He had two different trials. I think Florida and Illinois both went after him, and he got found not guilty in both of those. But when the feds came in, his ass is in jail. Hmm. Good question, Stacy. So Stacy asked, will he get in trouble or get by with it because he is a celebrity? I don't think so. I think he's gonna go. I think because Bill Cosby got found guilty. He got locked up. Now, granted, he got let go out of jail by a technicality. That's the only reason why his old ass is out. Let's see. So he got busted. R. Kelly got busted. I'm Harvey Weinstein, man who ran Hollywood and had hands in everything, got convicted. So all these people, I mean, I think the day of the celebrity getting their way is kind of going out the window because, Me Too movement brought light on these things. Sexual harassment is not okay. And yeah, I agree with you, Stacey. She said if he did all that stuff, then he needs to be put away. I completely agree. Because my thing is this, when I saw the Cassie Ventura video, I was never a huge fan of Puff Daddy to begin with. I didn't care. My ex-husband, not ex, my late husband, he enjoyed his music, but not me. I really didn't. And when I saw that video from the hotel where he was beating her down like that, beating Cassie Ventura down, the sheer depravity, that was insane. And I really think if you are capable of doing that kind of damage to somebody, I think you're capable of just about anything, personally. That's my take on that. Um, yeah, it's been crazy. But yeah, they're trying to pull the whole he's been on drugs, so therefore he's not culpable because he didn't know what he was doing. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. And he needs to go down. Simple as that. I mean, do I think every person that's suing him civilly has a case or maybe telling the truth? Mm, I think they said what they had like 120 lawsuits going. Yeah, exactly. Somebody you supposedly care about. I get you. But Tony Busby, I think he's got like 120 clients. And do I think all 120 are telling the truth? I don't think so. I think you're gonna have a few in there that may be making stuff up. Like the case of the 13-year-old that supposedly was attacked by Jay-Z and P. Diddy that Busby was representing. That case got dropped. There were too many inconsistencies in her story. And if she truly was assaulted, I feel for her because it doesn't seem like she's ever going to get any real closure for her. And then when you look at you know, people that I'm glad are no longer on the earth, like Jeffrey Epstein, Virginia Giuffre, who was one of his victims, you know, ended her life a few days ago. The depression, she just couldn't deal with the torment and the pain anymore. Because I've been watching, I've been, keeping up on this, and her family, her sister-in-law is taking over her mantle, fighting for people who have been trafficked, assaulted, that kind of stuff. They're gonna continue in her memory, but it's just unfortunate that it's a memory that they have to do it for, because she should still be alive. She shouldn't have hurt herself. But when you deal with trauma like that, not everybody's able to overcome. And I understand that better than most. So, um, I do believe she did. Stacy asked if I believe that if she did that to herself because she was such a strong fighter. I do believe she did. She was in a car accident a few weeks before she ended herself. I think they said she struggled with her mental health off and on over the years. So all it takes is a moment. All it takes is a moment. And they actually published part of the letter she left behind. Um, Her family did. So I really do think she did that to herself. It's a shame. It's a shame. I mean, you and I both know she fought, but sometimes you just run out of steam, unfortunately. But yeah, like I said, I wonder how many other women Epstein victimized that are in the same boat. And I hope they're all getting help. I really do. But yeah, I mean, this has been crazy. This is like a lot of stuff that's come up here lately, and it's been nuts. And then Diddy, like I said, that case, I mean, they go with the jury selection next week. And I'm curious how they're gonna find an unbiased jury that hasn't heard anything about this case or has not seen that video that CNN put out from that hotel of the beating. I mean, they're gonna see it in the courtroom, but how are they gonna guarantee that these people didn't see it before they came to the courtroom? They can't. Man, what I would do to get on that jury. I have never served jury duty. Never. I actually kind of want to do it like once, just for the experience. The one time I got called for jury duty, I was pregnant with my son Michael. He's 25 now, so it tells you how long ago it was. I was very pregnant. I was like 7 months pregnant. And they excused me because the case they were sitting for was like a state case. So it was going to take some time. And because I was like 7 months pregnant, like, you can go home. So yeah, they've never asked. Yeah, exactly. I want to be on that case. So I've not been asked again, and I've lived in like 3 different states: Ohio, Kentucky, North Carolina. No one wants to. No one wants to. Oh, now my late husband. Go figure on this one. Um, he got called to serve on jury duty a year after he died. After he died. Yeah, we were really confused by that. So we called down to the courthouse and said, "Hey, he's dead." And they're like, "Yeah, we can't take your word for it. You have to bring us proof." And my daughter, being the smart ass that she is, went down there with his ashes and with the paperwork, and she's like, "He's here." And they're like, "What?" Like, "Well, you said you wouldn't take our word over the phone, so here he is. Here's your paperwork. He's here to serve." They didn't laugh. I thought it was hilarious, but hey, this is what happens. So yeah, it's weird because like he died and I notified everybody, but they kept sending me stuff. Like Medicaid kept renewing his medical card like for the last 3 years. I'm like, did you, well, you know he died because he paid for things. So I can't explain it. I really can't. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we can talk about. Nope, I don't think I have anything else. So I need to get back through. I may not have a Thursday child for tomorrow because I really have not researched one this week. I'm bad. Mobster Monday, don't have my next one on that one either. But I am getting some interesting information on a Elton Turnbull, who was a known drug kingpin here in Greensboro, and some people kind of went missing that were involved with him. So I'm looking into that right now. And then um, there was an old unsolved case of a shooting that happened over at A&T, North Carolina A&T University in 1969, in May of 1969. And there was when they had a whole bunch of riots and protests going on right there. And a student was killed. And they never did solve that. So I am going to be covering that as well. But on that note, I am going to hop off here. But I do want to say this. If you have not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, Red True Crime, please, please, please go over there and subscribe. Because I'm almost at 500. And at 500, I get more tools to do more things, to put more things out there for people to hear these stories and know the information of who's missing and why and what for. So if you have not already signed up or subscribed, please do so because it doesn't cost anything and it helps me out. So anyway, but this is Rebecca with Red True Crime. I'm gonna hop off here. Have a great, well, it's after midnight, so have a great overnight, and hopefully I get to go to work tomorrow. My stomach's not killing me. So bye everyone. Have a good night.